Welcome. You sent us some really intense source material this time. It covers extreme financial trouble, a pretty predatory-sounding cable game show called Twisted Hacks, and, well, a lot more.
Yeah, it's quite a story. Our mission today is to unpack it, look past the shock value and see what it tells us about desperation and how quickly things can spiral.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Greg Preakle. The sources call him the one-armed pool man.
Right, and he's in a real bind, facing eviction from his mobile home park, Cove Ridge. The manager, Ruel Stoltz, gave him notice rent and utilities overdue.
Deadline.
Friday. So, immediate pressure. He just lost his job, apparently under strange circumstances we might get into, and he's too proud to ask for help. Needs money fast.
Which is where this flyer comes in. Twisted Hacks. Sounds ominous already.
It does. Found at Castle Productions in Riverton, Texas. But look at the hook. $500 daily pay just for participating, and a $10,000 prize if you win.
Ah, so it's not about fame or fun. It's pure, raw need for cash. That $500 guaranteed must have seemed like a lifeline.
Exactly. That's the setup. Financial desperation overriding, well, pretty much everything else, common sense included.
But let's talk about Castle Productions itself. He goes there, presumably hoping it's less weird than it sounds.
Well, the building itself is nothing special, just, yellow bricks. Unassuming. But the process, that's where it gets strange.
How so?
Intense paperwork. And the receptionist is surprisingly blunt. Warns him the show is, and this is a direct quote from the source, unconscionable.
Unconscionable. She actually said that.
Yep. And stressed he has to sign major liability waivers. Even says, it can end messy.
Okay, huge red flags waving right there. But he signs anyway.
He does. That $500 is guaranteed, remember. He feels he has no choice. He needs that money by Friday.
Right. So he's in. What's the actual show like? The sources described a pretty macabre scene.
Definitely. The host, just called the host, is described as really over the top, veneered teeth, melodramatic, very unsettling vibe.
And the audience. That part really stood out to me.
Yeah, that's maybe the creepiest part. They all wear black masks, faceless, apparently show no emotion unless they're cued to applaud.
So maybe paid extras?
Yeah.
Or just completely numb to whatever's happening.
Could be either. It adds to this feeling of anonymity and, frankly, lack of accountability. The contestants wear motorcycle helmets, too.
For safety. Or just more anonymity.
Probably both. Minimizes identification, maybe limits liability if things go wrong, which they apparently do.
Well, let's get to the core of it, the Wheel of Doomsday.
Right. This is where it gets graphic. Greg sees the contestant before him, a woman named Helen, lose. Her spin lands on the meat grinder.
Oh, wow. And the sources are specific about what happens.
Very. It describes a clean separation of her upper arm, just gone. It's brutal and efficient.
That must have been the breaking point for Greg.
You'd think so. He tries to leave right then, but a security guard physically blocks the exit.
Blocks him? On what grounds?
Simple. You sign the waiver, you're now under the employment of Castle Productions. He's trapped.
So that $500 wasn't just participation pay, it was basically buying his consent under duress.
Wow. Pretty much. He's now red helmet, contestant number 139, I think it was. He fights, maybe out of sheer terror, and actually wins the $10,000.
He wins after seeing that.
He does. But the sources make sure you know the cost. The losers, blue and green helmets, they face something called the Scalpatron and the Atomizer.
And is it real or special effects?
That's left deliberately ambiguous in the sources. But whether it's fake gore or actual maiming, the psychological impact on Greg and the sheer wrongness of it is clear.
Okay, so he gets the $10,000. He survived. Now what?
He goes home, obviously completely shaken, and almost immediately, trouble finds him again. A black town car pulls up.
At his trailer.
Right outside. People get out to demand $9,000 of his winnings. Like, right away.
Just like that. An armed robbery attempt.
Seems like it. The money attracted danger instantly. But then comes another twist.
What happens?
His neighbor, Dave, who's just sitting on his porch watching this unfold, Dave pulls out a pistol.
The neighbor has a gun.
Apparently. Shoots out the town car's back window. The guys demanding the money panic and drive off.
Wow. So Dave saves him.
Saves the money anyway. And his payment for this intervention. Dave asks Greg for a box of 9mm bullets and a 6-pack of beer.
That's quite a neighborhood dynamic, very transactional.
It raises questions Greg asks himself in the sources. Is this random? Or is he being targeted? He starts thinking about his old job again, where he found that dead body in the pool he was cleaning.
Connecting the dots.
Maybe. Dave tries to brush it off, says it's just bad luck, but then, almost in the same breath, offers Greg a job lead.
Oh, A legitimate one.
Well, Dave describes it as an old pal from Vietnam who's technically in education, but dabbles in a bit of everything.
That sounds incredibly shady.
Right. And Dave adds a warning, the interview might be unorthodox.
Okay, so recapping for you listening. Greg escapes eviction by surviving this horrific game show, gets $10,000, is immediately targeted for it, gets saved by a gun-toting neighbor, and is left with $1,000 and a job offer that sounds dangerous, frankly.
He's traded one kind of danger for another, it seems, from the systemic violence of the game show to now potentially getting involved with whatever Dave's old pal is up to.
He went from being exploited by media to being sort of protected but also indebted within this maybe criminal network.
That seems to be the implication. Which leads us to the final thought for you. Given everything Greg's just been through finding a body, the absolute horror of twisted hacks, the robbery attempt, this shadowy job offer, is escaping one nightmare simply the price of admission into another, possibly even darker one? When you're that desperate, do you ever really get free, or do you just change cages?